Story 1. Several years after affairs and reconciliation still feels failed. BPD partner. Hey guys, this is my first post here, although I have been reading tons of posts recently that have helped a ton in dealing with my situation of infidelity. I really appreciate everyone's posts and stories here. My fiancé and I have been together for 7.5 years, and I have found several instances of infidelity with 4 different men. The most recent and worst case of infidelity was early 2020. The worst part is that this physical, emotional affair was with a tattoo artist, and she has a large ribcage tattoo from before we dated. So now every time I see this tattoo, it is a huge trigger for me. It's strange, but I feel as though it's almost as if he branded her like a piece of property. I should also note that my fiancé has borderline personality disorder, which I guess in some weird way made me feel some sort of sympathy, even though it is not an excuse. People with BPD are known to have absolutely awful impulse control and anger, rage spills, which makes me even more nervous for the future because it's almost as if she can't help herself. She is now 2 sessions into therapy for basically her mood swings, outrage, and depression, but I highly doubt it will help with her impulsivity and how it relates here. And even if it did, it still doesn't change the past of what happened. I have tried to move past these affairs, but after going on 3 years later, the trust is gone, and I constantly feel like a police investigator, trying to quickly scroll through her phone when she leaves the room to find more proof, checking her deleted photos, overthinking things every time she leaves the house, and just living in fear that this will inevitably happen again due to the frequency of how this has happened before. Every time I try and discuss the affairs with her because of my concerns, she breaks down emotionally and says something along the lines of "it's either you forgive me or you don't," basically giving an ultimatum that she is past the point of discussing any further. She also says things like "I have paid for my mistakes over and over again," which pisses me off, as if we don't pay for our partner's infidelity every single day. I don't think she knows the depth of her betrayal. Now, just last week I found out that she has been Facebook searching one of her old FWB flings from years before we dated. I should also mention that all previous APs were men that she had some sort of history with. That being said, this instance of her Facebook searching this friend is obviously driving my anxiety through the roof. I know it probably isn't that big of a deal to some, but it is to me given the fact that I laid down boundaries that she is not to search or be Facebook friends with any exes or such. I feel like this crosses that line in the sand given her history. I feel like I can't ever trust her again, and it seems as though this shady type of activity will never stop, always causing me to worry and to be paranoid. I feel so defeated and drained. Everything feels forced now. I barely want to kiss her anymore. Hugs feel empty, and sex feels extremely distant. It just feels like I am trying to piece everything back together and act like it was never broken. How would you guys react if this happened to you? Am I making a bigger deal out of this instance than it really is? Sorry for the lengthy post, but I really do appreciate everything in advance for the help. Reader comment: why are you so intent on setting yourself on fire to keep her warm? She hasn't sought help at any time, and based on her behavior, it doesn't truly feel like she will seek help this time. Of course, you're not making a bigger deal. Always trust actions, not words. Actions determine true intent. There hasn't been any true behavioral change, and BPDs are also well known for the discard, so you've got that coming in your future too. Your body is actively rejecting her for a reason. I'm no sure what keeps you in the relationship besides sunk cost fallacy. Original poster, you make some really good points. I never thought of it as my body rejecting her, but that's a great perspective. I feel like she is only seeking therapy as of lately because she can probably tell things are growing cold. I just feel like someone that knows they're on razor-thin ice following multiple affairs should not be Facebook searching any kind of past FWB. What does that say about her respect of my feelings? Thanks for the reply. You're definitely spot on. Trust the actions and not the words. Reader comment: she's a serial cheater. She doesn't sound truly remorseful or concerned about your mental health. You can't fix people, only they can, and it sounds like she won't. This isn't a gray area or confusing. You set a reasonable boundary and she stepped right over it. So, if you allow this without consequences, she will only be emboldened to do more. You don't sound happy, so not sure what you are trying to save here. You can't save her from herself. Original poster, thank you for this. You're right. If I am on this subreddit and talking with you all, it obviously means I am not happy and I need to face that. I thought that it was a reasonable boundary request to ask her not to search or have any contact whatsoever with any kind of ex of sorts. Yet a friends with benefit seems even worse than an ex. She stepped over the line and obviously does not care that she did so. Thank you for the advice. Reader comment. Opus. First, I want to say sorry that you're going through this. The branding part really got me because if I was in your shoes, I would be thinking the same thing. What she did and is still doing is causing your brain to malfunction. That is why you hear people that have PTSD. Everything you're feeling is normal to someone who has been cheated on. What you have to understand is that she will never change. With that being said, you must work on yourself and just stop worrying about her. I know it is easier said than done, but you're stressing over what is the next thing she will do. She will do it just like you caught her looking for her ex-FWB. Why would she do that? To rekindle it. Again, she will do it again and again because the problem is with her and not you. You need to figure out a way to just leave. Make a plan. If you can leave a SOP. If you cannot, then work on that plan and then it. She will lie to you, beg, and plead that she will change, but she won't. Once you get free from her will be the time you need to heal. Once you break free, block her from everything and move on with your life. Original poster. Thanks so much. I am really glad someone connected with the tattoo part. I wanted to throw it in there because it sounds strange to someone that has never experienced this type of thing. But how could it not be symbolic of the pain and betrayal seeing that every day? It's like an omen that serves as a grave reminder. You're right on it being easier said than done, but I do not like who I have become. I feel so passive, and I feel like I have bypasses everything I stand for just to placate her, for no good reason. It's to the point it is toxic, and an exit is imminent. Just now need to piece together the details. Thank you again for your support. Story 2. Chemistry and connection. Long story short, my wife had about 6-month turned into 1-month physical affair. D-Day more than 18 months ago now, when I caught her in some lies and confronted her. It took months thereafter to pry the whole truth about it from her, and had I not caught her, there's no question it would have continued indefinitely. It took about 10 months for her to really end all contact with AP. But the last time was in a meeting between all 4 of the people involved in which my wife and I were very united. AP's spouse learned completely what a lying posse was, and things really truly ended between the cheaters. It brought a good sense of finality and closure at the time. We've done couples counseling, individual counseling, a lot of independent work, and we've been generally in a good place. In the time since D-Day, we've improved our communication, closeness, respect, and our sex life is better than it has ever been in the previous 18 years in the relationship. However, somewhere between 15–25% of the time, she gets in very depressed and dark moods. The reason, as she explains, is the experience of the affair was the most exhilarating and emotionally powerful time in her life. She says she and AP had a natural sexual chemistry and emotional connection. Twin flame or soulmate relationship for those into that kind of mysticism that she has never felt in our relationship, and she misses it and is in perpetual emotional turmoil with the thought of not being able to experience that again. Something compounding the problem is that at the time I caught them, they had not actually had penetrative sex, just everything else. I know that's weird, and I've seen the comments before that I'm being naive because adults have sex, yada, yada, yada. But it's 100% true. That's part of why so much pain lingers, because despite the incredible sexual chemistry as she describes it, she never got to close the deal and see if it brought her to the real spiritual ecstasy she believes she would have experienced, and that she feels like she is never going to have now. Personally, I do not share in her same beliefs that some people just have a chemistry that will make the sex mind-blowing regardless of actual performance. To me, sex is sex. It can be great, or it can be still pretty good, but I don't ascribe to the idea that the quality is ultimately derived from a natural immutable chemistry rather than effort, attention, and purposeful connection. In other words, she says there is nothing else I can do to improve our sex life, but only sex with another person could potentially provide what she feels like she is missing. It's not about acts, physicality, or methods. It's all about chemistry for her, and she says we just don't have it. After this experience, any kind of open relationship, polyamory, or hall pass are a solid no-go for me, and the frustrating part is the other 75–85% of the time. Things are amazing between us. Aside from this recurring issue, we have a great relationship and are on an upward trajectory financially, aspirational, and in the companionship parts of our relationship. But every week or two, the pain cycle bubbles up again for her for a day or two, and she can't move past its long term. We talk, I try to be helpful and understanding, and it hides again, but it always comes back. And every time I get reminded that I'm not enough, that she is ultimately unfulfilled in our relationship. And I just end up feeling so alone in the universe. Like, if there is an afterlife, she believes she will be spending it with him. So where does that leave me? Is there any point to continuing trying to reconcile anymore? How did other people help their wayward who stayed in love with parts of the AP? An affair, even though they're doing everything else right. She doesn't want to end our marriage, but she's also not getting her needs met in a way the marriage can provide. So what else is there to do but end it? Reader comment. Just ask yourself this question. If her AP leaves his wife tomorrow, then what will your WW do? Be honest with yourself and you will know your path forward. All the best. Original poster. Honestly, I do not think they would get together for an actual relationship. Believe me, I think there's a good chance she would try to renew the affair, but she recognizes I am a way better partner, and that they would not be compatible as an actual couple. I am unquestionably the better choice on paper, and she understands that, but just wants all the good I provide, and something extra that I can't. Reader comment. She is really FOS. Opus, I think she's taking you for granted, or as others said, sees you as second choice. Do you have kids? How much trouble would it be to split your lives so she can be free to find perfect chemistry? Original poster. Young kids, awesome house with a lot of equity and very affordable mortgage. Just renting a studio apartment would be more expensive than our mortgage payment. So financially, it would be a lot of trouble, with probably a 3x to our monthly housing cost if we had to pay for separate places, thereby reducing other spending, saving, investing significantly. Reader comment. What she's describing still sounds very much like the affair fog. Limerence. Is she in counseling? I know you said she cut off in May 2022, but if she's not fully owning her actions and digging into her whys, it makes sense that she's still living in La La Land with that mindset. Original poster. She has done a lot of counseling, stopped a few months ago because she was making progress, and felt to be in a good place at the time. I do not question that she is actively trying and doing the work to move past it. It just seems the emotional impact was so great in her that she is not capable of actually succeeding in that. It will always be a part of her. Reader comment. Does she feel the same about your marriage as you described? 75-85% great. My guess is you are her plan B like I was. AP is probably her first choice, but if she can't have him, she will take you. Original poster. When talking about its last night, she literally said 90% of the time things are great. She does not want to be in a partnership with AP. Or so she says. She just missed the connection. As I said in another response, she wants me for the security and all the good things, and keeping that seems to be her priority, but still wants something extra that I can't give her. That's the problem. I'm willing to let her go, but she expresses she doesn't want that, and I'm positioned to be the one